This one's for my family who lives in DC, and for anyone else looking for more information about what's going on at Reagan, how things have changed since January, if it's safe to fly there, and why you keep ending up at Dulles instead of DCA. Now, I don't want to talk about 5342 because I think there's already enough people out there talking about it, and because it's just not something I want to talk about right now. I was on the overnight shift, so DCA was closed before I even got there, but we could still continue flights in the air and dispatch flights through 121-195 by listing Dulles as the alternate and planning to divert there after departure. Before they reopened, the FAA issued a temporary flight restriction for part of DCA's airspace. The actual Class B is enormous because Dulles, Andrews, Baltimore, Reagan, they're all functionally treated as one big airspace, but the TFR was issued for the area around DCA, and it was designated a no-fly zone for helicopters. They made an exception for medical emergencies, and there was an exception for police and military operations, including VIP and presidential movement. The catch is that helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft cannot be in this airspace at the same time. For us, it's a big game of red light, green light. Helicopter enters the airspace, red light. And when the light turns red, you only have two options. If you're carrying extra fuel, you can try to fly around a bit and wait it out. If you don't have the fuel for it, you've got to land at an airport that isn't closed, and that's what a diversion is. Now, diversions aren't dangerous, they're just annoying for everyone involved. And we'd still have to fly it back to DCA, because imagine you just got through security. You've got your pumpkin spice latte, you're waiting for your plane to arrive, and you hear this gate change announcement like, "Attention all passengers, your plane will now be departing from gate 4 at Dulles." We really try not to do that to people. So VIP movement's nothing new at DCA, and you learn real quick at the regional level that DCA will shut down for 15-20 minutes at any time, because Marine One gets priority. They usually post their expected arrival and departure window as a courtesy, but most of us add that extra hold fuel and plan Dulles as an alternate anyway. But even when they surprise us, these pilots are reliably quick and efficient. They get in, get the job done, and get out. And if you're a smart dispatcher, there's no issue because you planned for it. The difference now is that DCA doesn't just stop for the actual VIP movement. It stops for any helicopter associated with the VIP movement that has to move through this airspace. Security sweeps before the motorcade, the helicopters that follow the motorcade, rehearsals for the VIP movement, the scheduled VIP movement, the second security sweep when the VIP no-shows at the first scheduled time. You get the idea. DCA will turn away all airline arrivals if a military helicopter needs the airspace, because fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters are no longer allowed to be in the same airspace at the same time, and they have priority. Now, in this line of work, we deal with forces of nature that don't care about our schedule. You can't reroute a thunderstorm, but we can do our best to understand it, predict it, and plan around it. And you have to take the same approach to military movement in DC. When the VIP movement is scheduled, Potomac does a great job of communicating what's going on, how long we should expect it to take, and prioritizing inbound flights with the least amount of hold fuel when the airspace does open back up.
American 1921, you heard we'll be stopped for a little bit for VIP movement.
We're hearing it now.
Yep, those helicopters off your left, they're practicing, so we got to shut the airport down for like 20 minutes at least.
These military aircraft aren't transmitting ADSB publicly, and they aren't communicating on a frequency I can monitor. Tower still knows their ADSB frequency, I just can't hear or see them from my cubicle across the country. DCA stays closed for about 20 minutes, and normally by this point the VIP is long gone, and we don't have to worry about it again until he comes back tonight. Every time DCA closes, as you might expect, things start to back up. Right now, we have 2 inbounds holding, 7 departures waiting for the airspace to open, and the wind's about to shift north. The CRJ is brought in first because it's a smaller plane with smaller fuel tanks. The other inbounds and holds are sent up to the north side. While they're moving, the departures start launching out one after the other until the first flight picks up the river visual. The rest of the departures have to taxi up to the north side because we're Southflow now, and 30 minutes later, things are running smoothly again. What's been happening in DCA recently is that these stops aren't just once a day anymore. We're getting multiple closures per day at random times and random intervals.
Heading 090, Blue Streak 5288.
Blue Streak 5288, starting cancel bridge clearance, heading 090, and I guess there's a VIP movement here.
090, Roger, Blue Streak 5288.
Up 1454, and then now maintain 4,000, if you need to climb back up, that's fine.
Alright, 4000, Delta 1454. Hey, approach, Blue Streak 5388. We're 3000 on 180 heading.
Blue Streak 5388, Potomac Roger, the way vector's here for a VIP movement.
Do you have an idea how long that's going to be? Because we're going to be having to divert if it's anything substantial.
Honestly, I don't, I'm sorry.
The bottom line is we don't fly through known hazardous conditions. Hailstones, severe turbulence, volcanic ash, and until the NTSB concludes their investigation, we're treating helicopters around DCA as we would any other airborne threat. Medical transit and the Metro Police are pretty good about staying out of this airspace, but the military, well, they have priority over civilian movement. And if they request to use this specific airspace, they get it, and we find somewhere else to land. The Ops Advisory for DCA helo traffic expires on March 13, and the TFR expires at the end of the month, so I'm hoping this doesn't go on for too much longer, but we really won't know until then.